Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, we will learn how to create a split landing page design using only HTML and CSS. As you can see here on my computer screen, I have this one split landing page design. You can see when I hover both sides, you can see there's some transition effect. Also, this is the left side and this is the right side. Also, you can notice we have two different background colors from both sides. Okay. Also, I have this one icon. Also, I have this one logo with the text. You can see this text logo. Also, I have this icon, that is heart icon, and you can see there's some hover effect. On the other side, we have this icon, two icons plus profile. Also, we have this the title of the product. Also, we have this image product. Okay. From also there's also another image product here, and you can see we have the title of the product plus their description, and also we have this amazing button, and on this button you can see there's some beautiful hover effect. On the other side it's the same. Also you can see I have this hover effect on this button. Also you can see the title of the product plus the description of the product. Also we have this slider and these two arrows, that is backward and forward, and you can see there's also hover effect on these arrows. So we will create this split landing page design using only HTML, CSS and JavaScript. So without wasting time, let's start the video. Hello guys, welcome back again. So here I have one folder, that is split landing page. Inside this folder I have one more folder for my images. You can see this folder called images. Inside this folder I have three images that I'll be using to create this landing page. Now what we're going to do is we're going to open this folder in our text editor. So say open with code. So I'm using Visual Studio Code. Now next what we need to do is we need to create one file, not inside the images but outside this folder. Okay, so simply we're going to create one file, okay, called index.html. Here I'm going to write the basic HTML structure. Also here I'm going to change my title. Okay, we have our title. Now simply save this, come back to your folder. I'm going to open this with our browser. Simply double click it. Now you can see we have our title, split landing page. Okay, now come back to your text editor. So here I'm going to add one more file, that is style.css. And here what I'm going to do is we're going to link our style.css to HTML. So by doing that we need to use the link tag, link CSS. Okay, so you can see now we connected our style.css to HTML. Next what we need to do is we need to add a JavaScript library. So go back to your browser. In this website you can see it's called cdnpackage.com. Here I'm going to use the JavaScript library called ion icons. Okay, so simply what we're going to do is all the way down here you're going to see cdn links. Here you're going to see the file, then URL. So what we need is this URL. So simply you need to copy this URL. Now here down here I'm going to write script source. Okay, and here we're going to add our URL link. Now after doing that, here I'm going to write my basic. I'm going to start with the body navbar. This is just a CSS comment, HTML comment that we are creating here. So simply what we need to do is we need to create one nav with a class name navbar. Inside this nav we are going to create one div with a class name menu. Here I'm going to add my icon. So simply what we're going to do is we're going to add our icon. So I'll just say ion icon, Then I'll give it a name. Sorry, should be menu. Okay. Now simply we created a menu icon here. You can see you because by using this link tag, it will help us create any icon that we want, because this link contains all the icons you need to use. Okay. So next what we are going to do is, after this we need to add one logo. So I'll create one div with a class name logo. Again here I'm going to copy this. I'm going to change the name. So this time I will say heart. Okay. After this, at the end of this div tag, end tag, what I'm going to do is we're going to add our text. That is, this is just our text logo. Okay. So after this div tag, at the end of this div tag, we're going to create another div called with the class name search. Again, we're going to add our icon. This time is going to be search. Also, I'm going to add a class search also. Next, I'm going to do is at the end of this div tag, we need to create one more icon, that is cat icon. Okay. Inside this div, we are going to add again our icon. So here I'm going to say cat. Also, we need to give it a class cat. Okay. So after this, we need to add our image. At the end of this div tag, we need to add one image, that is, I'll create one div with a class name profile. So here simply we're going to create our profile. Don't worry, you're going to see also, and all the three images here, you can see I have this profile. Okay, profile image. Okay, I'll provide this all these images in my video link description so that you can also download and follow the tutorial. Now simply cancel that. Simply here we're going to use the img tag. So I'm going to say images slash, sorry, should be dot slash images. Then I'm going to choose profile. So after this, now save your file, come back to your browser, go back to your web page, refresh it. Now you can see we have our four icons and our logo, our text logo. Okay. Also you can see we have this background image. This is the image. Don't worry, you're going to style all of this. Okay. So come back to your text editor. After this, I'm going to make another comment. This time I want to add my content. Okay. Here I'm going to create one div with a class name content. Inside this div, we'll create another div called split left. Here I'm going to add my image. So here I'm going to say images, and the first image I'll add is headphone. After this, we need to add a class. So this class I will call it headphone. Okay. So after this, I'm going to add a text also. So I'll create one div with a class name text. Also here inside this div, we'll create a paragraph using the p tag, and also I'll add a class called subtitle. Okay. Here I'm going to add a text, a title for this image. Okay. So simply I have this title, so I'll copy this and add it there. So add this here, I'm going to create another paragraph, and this time I'll give it a class also. And here I'm going to add a small paragraph that describes the product. Okay. So At the end of this p tag, we need to add a button. So simply add a class, and this one I'll give it bt1, okay, because we need to create 2 more buttons for each product, okay. So after this, we need to add a text that says discover more. Okay, now come back here at the end of this to div tag. So here what I'm going to do is we need to create another product. So by doing that, you can see this div tag, copy up to this to closing div tag, okay. So you can see this class is split left, and this this the first one is split left, so I need the other product to be opposite of this, okay. So we're going to change this to right, okay. Also we need to change our image to watch, okay, and also here I'm going to change to watch this class, okay. Also I'm going to change my text. Also change the description of the product. So I'm going to change all of this, okay. Now save your file, come back to your web browser, refresh it. Now because of this image, we need to add some styling, okay. But you can see we have our 2 products. Also we have our button, okay. Come back to your text editor. Next, what we need to do is we need to create a slider, okay. So here I'm going to make a HTML comment, and I will say slider. So here I'm going to create one div with a class name slider. Again, we need to create one more div with a class name pages. Also here I'm going to use the span tag, and I'm going to say 0, 1. And at the end of this div span tag, I'm going to say 0, 6. So simply here what we're doing is we're creating pages from 1 to 6, okay. So at the end of this div tag, we need to create 2 arrows, that is forward and backward, okay. So I'll create one div with a class name forward. Sorry, it should be arrows, okay, not forward, arrows. So here I'm going to add so go back all the way up here, simply copy this icon and add it there. So here we're going to change our icon to arrow back, okay, back. Again, copy another. We're going to create one that the first one is our back arrow, and we need a forward arrow, okay. So I'm going to do again arrow forward, okay. So simply now you have created 2 arrows. Save your file, come back to your web page, refresh it. Now you can see we have these 2 arrows, okay. Now come back to your text editor. So simply here what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a comment here, HTML comment. So this is just not to confuse what we're doing here, okay. The comments will help us not to confuse anything. It will keep us in track, okay. So here I'm going to say ion icons. Also I'm going to add one more comment, and here I'm going to say JS. So simply what I want to do is I want to create one more file, that is script.js. For now, this we're going to do this later, okay. So just leave it for now. So here I'm going to add a script source. Then I'm going to select script.js. Save that file. Now let's go to our CSS. So here what I'm going to do is, we need first, before we do anything, we need to select our font. So go back to your web browser. Here I'm going to type Google font. Select Google font. Sorry, my network. Let me just connect to the internet. I'm having trouble with my internet, guys. So let's just continue. So simply what I'm going to do here is, I'm going to add a CSS comment. And I'm going to say fonts. Okay. Simply close this comment. And here I'm going to add, I wanted to add an import. I want to import font here, but with the due to internet issue, let me just connect again. So I'll just come back to that later. So here, first what I'm going to use is, again, we're going to create a CSS comment. I'm going to say general. Okay. So here I'm going to add the general CSS structure, like the basic one. I'll give like padding 0, also margin 0, like box sizing to be border box, and lastly we need to add cursor to be pointer. Next, I want to style my body, so I'll say body, open your curly braces. So let me just add our font. Simply refresh this page, click the first link. Here we're going to add our Google font, and so I'm going to choose this font. Wait, I don't want this one. So simply here I'm going to type a font. So simply choose this font. Okay, this is my favorite font. So here what we're going to do is, we need to select multiple font styling. Okay, style. Okay, so let's select the, let's start with, maybe we're going to start with 300 going to 700. Okay, so we'll select this one, 300. It's like it was selected before, so you can see 400. So simply what you're going to do is, you're going to select 300, 400 regular. Don't select italic. Okay, just select regular, all of them. Okay, till all the way to 700. So here in the import, I'm going to copy this link. I'm going to copy this, then come back to your text editor. Here we're going to add our font. Okay, now so far we are good. So now here you are styling our body. So for our body, I'll give it font family, and here I'm going to add our font. Okay, next we need to add color, white, width of maybe 100%, height of 100 view height. Lastly, not lastly, also we need to add overflow x. Okay, overflow x. This one I will say hidden, cursor to be pointer. Next is our class ion icon. This is not a class, it's just an icon. So let me just remove the dot. For this, I will give it font size 25 pixel. Okay, so this will make our icon extra large. Okay, it will change the size of the icon. Again, I'm going to add a hover effect. We need to add hover effect. So again, I'm going to say ion icon. So here I'm going to choose color. to be. So I'm going to add this color code 48, 48, 48. Sorry, should be 48, 48, 4A. Okay. So simply copy this, because remember we created two icons. Okay. So for this one, I will also add a color code. Okay. So simply save this file, come back to your web browser, refresh your web page. Let's scroll all the way up. Now we need to style this image, so come back to your text editor. So next, what I'm going to do is, again, let's copy this again. Here I'm going to change this to dot cut. Okay. Also this one I will change it to dot search. I think that is good. So also you need to change this color code, so I'll choose another color code. It's the same actually. So I think we have done the general styling. So now we're going to do is we're going to style our navbar. Okay. So here again, I'm going to create a CSS comment navbar. Now here I'm going to say, I'm going to start with the class, with our class, which is navbar. Here I'm going to add position to be absolute. Also we need to add top to be 0, left 0. Also we need to add height of 80 pixel. Next I will add width 100%, padding, font size 20 pixel. Lastly, I'm going to add z index of 1. Again, navbar, and here I'm going to style the div. So I'll add one thing, that is padding 0 by 30 pixel. Let's style our logo, class logo, margin 0 auto 38%. Okay, 0 38%. Next I'll add font family. So let me just copy this font. Okay. So now next what we need to do is we need to add font size. So here I'm going to add 30 pixel. Also we need to add text transform to be uppercase. Lastly, I'm going to add letter spacing of 1 pixel. Now let's style our profile, img, open curly braces. Here I'm going to add a width of 35 pixel. Also we need to add a height of 35 pixel. Lastly, I'm going to add object fit, cover, sorry, not content, cover. Also I will add border radius. We need to add border radius of 50%. Again, let's create another CSS comment, and this time I'm going to style my content. Let me just give a space. So here I'm going to start with my class content. So it should be small letter. For this one, I will give it position to be relative. Also, we'll add a width of 100% and height 100 view height. Okay, or let's just give it 100%, both of them. Okay, next is my class split. So come back to your text editor. So here we need to create another class. So simply I'm going to do is we need to add a class called split left. Okay, not actually, we don't need to add a class called split. We just need to remove this. Then I'll just say this. So here we have simply created two classes, that is split and another class called left. Okay, so for this one I'm going to add position to be absolute. Also, we'll add a width of 50%, height 100%. Also, I'm going to add transition 1 second cubic. Here I'm going to say 87. Let me just remove this cursor. Also, I'm going to add 0.76, comma, 0.33, comma, and lastly 0.98. Okay, overflow hidden. Next is again I'm going to say split dot left, because here we simply, when we went to our HTML, our index file, we saw that we created two classes in one div. Okay, you can have many classes in one div but not IDs. Okay, you can only have one ID but not many ID. Okay, but you can create many classes in one div. So let me just save this file. Let's continue. So open curly braces. So it's dot split dot left. Okay, also here I'm going to do the same. Let me just remove this, save that file. Now here I'm going to add left left 0 background. Next I'm going to say split dot right. Also I'm going to say right 0. Also I'm going to add background, and I'm going to choose this color because we need to have two different colors in both sides. Okay, because here we're going to create like a screen, like we're going to have the left side and the right side, and that will have two different colors. Okay, simply save this file, come back to your web browser, refresh it. Now you can see we have these two different split sides, that is the left side, the right side. Okay, you can see the background color here changed, and also we have two another different background color here. Okay, also you can see we have our icons. You can see there's some hover effect, and you can see we have this profile and our logo. Let's continue. Next, what we need to do is we need to add some hover effects. So I'll say dot hover left split left. Okay, so here I'm going to say width of 60%. Also simply copy this. Here I'm going to change to right. Also change this to right, and I will change my width to 40%. Next, again change this to right, and this one to right. Okay, so this time what I want to do is, again I'm going to add width of 60% here. Again, lastly, this time I want to do it with right again and then left. Okay, right, left, and I'll give it a width of 40%. So simply you can see, first of all, we created left, then we need to create the second one, should be left, right. Okay, so I'll change this to left. You can see here we have left, right, then we have right, left. Okay, then we have right, then right, left. I think so far we are good. So give it a width of 60%, 40%, 60%, 40%. Next is my class and headphone. For this class, I'll give it width of 70%. Also, I'm going to add position to be absolute. Top 55%, left 55%. Also, I'm going to add transform, translate, and here I'm going to say negative 50%, comma, negative 50%. Simply copy this, and this one will be my class watch, because here we created, remember, we created two products in our index.html. So, and also we give it a classes. This is watch and this is headphone. So for this one, I'll just say I'll change this to right. Okay, or let's just change it to left. That's okay. So I've given 70. Also position is the same, top to be also 50, but this one I'll make it 50%. Okay, left I'll say 50%. Also here make it 50%. I want everything to be equal. Okay, next is my class text. Here I'm going to add a width of 600 pixel. Also I'm going to add position to be absolute. Top 45%. Also I'm going to add left 50%. Also we need to add transform, translate, negative 50%, comma, negative 50%. Also I'm going to add transform again, and no, sorry, it should be transition. Okay, transition all 1 second. Then here I'm going to use cubic. Then I'm going to say 87, comma, 0.76, comma, 0.33%. I mean 33 point, lastly 98. Sorry, there should be comma here. After this, our class text, then our subtitle. For this one, I'll add font size of 16 pixel. Also, I'm going to add text transform to be uppercase. Color, I'm going to choose white. Also, letter spacing of 2 pixel. Next, again text, then our class disk. So for this one, I'll say font size 14 pixel. Sure, it should be 14 pixel. Also, I will add color, font weight 300, line height 2. Also, I'm going to add margin of 10 pixel. So I want it from both 4 sides. Okay, so 0, then I'll give 30 pixel, then 0. Also width of 400 pixel. Next is our button. So I'll say text button. Here I'm going to add font size 16 pixel. Also color background to be transparent. Also, I'm going to add border. For my border, first of all, I will give it color. Then I'm going to say solid 2 pixel, okay? Or you can say 2 pixel solid white, okay? You can do it the way you like it, okay? So next I'll say padding 15 pixel by 50 pixel. Text align to be center. Also, I'm going to add font weight of 700. Letter spacing 1 pixel. Cursor to be pointer. Outline none. Also, I'm going to add border radius of 100 pixel. After this, again say button. Then I'm going to say btn 1, and I'm going to add hover effect. For this styling, it goes for all our both buttons, okay? So now we have created, if I go back to my index.html, here you can see we created a button. We gave two classes here. There are two classes in one button, okay? So we have button, then btn1. Next, you can see, the first one, let me start with this one. You can see btn1. So this one should be bt1, bt2, okay? btn2. The first one is btn1. Let me save that file. So I'm going to start with the btn1. So here I'm going to add a hover effect, color, or let's just give it a background color, okay? So I'm going to pick that color, simply copy this, and here I'm going to change to btn2. Also, I'm going to change the color code, okay? So again, say hover left, okay? Left space split left, okay? And then I'm going to say space our class text. For this one, I'll say transform, translate, then I'll give it negative 40%, comma, negative 50%. Simply copy this, and I'm going to say this one hover, split right, okay? Split right. So I think that is okay. So after this, again, I'm going to say we need to copy the whole of this, okay? So I'm going to do again, this one should be right. Then also here I'm going to say right, okay? Right. And here I'll give it 60, and this one I'll give it 50, okay? Simply copy this. So here I'm going to say this time not right, I'm going to say left, and this one it will be 45%, and that one will be 50%. So let me just space this so that you can understand what I'm doing here. So here you can see the first one is split, hover left, then split left, split right, and here I did it, and again I started with split right, then split left, okay? Next is I'm going to create another CSS comment, and here lastly we are doing our our slider. So here I'm going to start with the class slider. So it should be small letters, slider. For this class, I'll give it position to be absolute. Also, I'll add bottom 0, right 0. height of 80 pixel. Next, I'll say pages, our class pages. I'll give it padding of 0.20 pixel. Also, I'm going to add a font weight, bold. Next, say again pages. Then I'm going to style my span tag. So I'll choose after. Then here I'm going to add content. So for this one, I'll not give anything. I'll just leave it blank. Then I'll just say display to be inline block. Also, we need to add border. For our border, I will give it 5 pixel solid white. Okay. Or the way like I said before, you can do maybe you can start with the color, then say solid 5 pixel. Okay. It's both ways are okay, no problem. Okay. So next I'll give it width of 100 pixel. Also, we'll give it a margin of 0/10 pixel. Transform. Then I'm going to choose translate wide. Here I'm going to say -4 pixel. Next is our class arrows. So if you go back to your index.html, here you can see we created a class called arrows. For this class, I'll add padding 0.20 pixel. Next, I'm going to say arrows. Then I'll choose our icon. For this one, I'll add font size of 30 pixel. Also, we need to add padding 0.20 pixel. Again, I'm going to say icon, and I'm going to add hover effect. I'll add color code. So simply save this file. Now let's go back to our web browsers. Let's see where our progress so far. So refresh your web page. Now you can see we have our buttons, and you can see there's some background hover effect. Now this is where we are styling. You can see we finished our 2 arrows, our heart, but still we haven't issued this with our icons. Okay, so don't worry, we're going to solve the issue of this. Okay, that problem. So simply come back again here. Here what I'm going to do is we're going to add a JavaScript library so that when we just hover, it takes the whole page of this content. Okay, so simply open this file called script.js. So here what I'm going to do is we are going to start with a const. Then I'm going to start with content equal to document dot query selector. Okay, and I'm going to create a bracket, and here I'm going to add my class content. Open with close it with semicolon. Okay, again I'm going to copy the whole of this. For this one, I'll just add our class left and right. Also change this class to left, right. Okay, after this we'll start with our left side. So I'll say left dot add event listener, and then I'm going to add a mouse over, or we can say mouse enter. Okay, comma equal or greater, then open curly braces. So here I'm going to say content dot class list dot add, and I'm going to say hover left. Okay, make sure to close with semicolon. Okay, now this how JavaScript is closing tag is used. Okay, make sure to use this semicolon. So after this, again, I'm going to copy the whole of this. Now this time, what I'm want to do is I'll just going to do a mouse leave. So I'll change this to mouse leave. Okay. Next, I'm going to say hover right. Okay. After that, again, let's create for right side. So I'm going to say right. Then here I'm going to say mouse enter, the same one. Okay. And here I'm going to say hover right. So when we click this side, it will take the whole side of the left side. Okay, it's like, let me just explain this in a simple way. Let's go back to our browser. You can see when I mouse enter this side, it will take the whole content of this on the left side when I hover this right side. Okay. So simply copy this again. Here I'm going to do a mouse leave. Okay. Mouse leave. Also, that's okay. So simply, I think what we need to do is we need to come back all the way here. So the first one is add, then the second one I'm going to say remove. Okay. Also this one remove. Okay. Now simply save this file, come back to your web browser, refresh it. Now you can see when I choose this side, it will take the whole site. Now this because of these icons. So let's solve this issue. Okay. Now let's go back to our style.css, or let's go back to our index.html first. So let's go back to where we created these icons. Okay. So here, let's go to our style.css all the way up to general. You can see we have this ion icon. So let's go to just under the body. I think that's okay. Also here, you can see we have our class search icon, the search on, the search and the cut icon. Okay. I think that's okay. So I think what we are missing here, and let me just go back to our index.html. So guys, I think we need to solve this issue, because if we go back to our web page, you can see if we split, you can see we have this. First of all, we have this the background color, because this side is not taking any hover effect. So simply here, what I'm going to do is let's start with our icons. So because these icons we need it to be at the center. So I'll say, so here I'm going to say display inline block. Okay. Also align items to be center. Now save this one, come back to your web browser, refresh it. Okay. Also what we need to do is again come back to your text editor. So for this side, what I need to do is Let's change this display to maybe and say flex. I think that will solve our problem. So save that one. Now come back here, come back to your web browser, refresh it. Okay, now that looks perfect because we have our icon. We wanted our icon to be at the center. So do not use display inline block, instead use flex. Okay. Also we have our profile. So now come back to your text editor. Also another issue we need to solve is this one, transition. So because of transition, because when we hover, you can see there's no transition all. Okay, so for that here I'm going to say 1 second all. Also next I need to change this remove this hover. Okay, save and save that file, save a file, come back to your web browser, refresh it. Now you can see there is full transition on both sides. Now next we need to is solve our slider. So for that, come back here or go all the way down where is said slider. So for this one here I need to add few things, like here I'm going to say again display to be flex. Also I'm going to add align items center. Also here the border, you can see our border, this is not looking good. So for that I'll pick it to 0.5 pixel. Save that, come back to your web page, refresh it. Now you can see we have our two arrows, and you can see there's some hover effect, and also you can see now we have corrected our border 01 to 06. Now I think we solved all our problems, and that's how you solve your problems. You can see also there's some hover effect on our icons. You can see we have our profile. Also you can see we have our menu icon. Let's refresh again this page. Now you can see guys, we have successfully created our split landing page design using only HTML and CSS. So you can see here we have our menu icon, our logo, text logo with this heart icon. Also this side we have our search icon, cart icon, and also the profile, and this profile also has an image. Next we have is our text, the product, our product. Also behind this product we have this background color for both sides. Again we have this button. So before this button we have this content, that is the title of this product, and also the description of the product. We have given a small, using the p tag, we have given a description of the product. Also we have this button. You can see on this button there is some beautiful hover effect. Also if I cursor at the other side, you can see this button also has some hover effect. Plus also we have our slider 01 to 06, and we have these two arrows, that is back arrow and forward arrow. Now guys, we have successfully created our split landing page design using only HTML and CSS. So if you think this video was very helpful, kindly please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also this you can use it on your e-commerce web page. Okay, so guys, again, if you think this video was very helpful, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and also share with your fellow developers. So till next time, bye.